Hi you guys, so we're delving in the next couple of weeks to the topic of sex and death in mindfulness. How can we not be mindful around those two practices? Mankind has habitually been afraid of sex, afraid of death, or at least afraid of delving into those areas as much as we delve into other areas of our life. And they are very root and basey and primal. So if you study like the chakras or Qigong or Tai Chi, and you study the Dantians, or just the areas of the body, or you just look at this from a logical, Western scientific mind and go, okay, in that lower area of my body, if I am maybe disconnected to that area, or I have maybe issues, stomach issues, or I have just a chronic tightness in that area, or an aversion to that area, the sex organs or the genital area of the body, or the digestive system and the belly system of the body, then maybe that's restricting me. And if I were to look at those areas where that's kind of the basey, earthy areas, or if you look at it in the hierarchy of needs, you have at your base or your root, like, am I, safe? Am I grounded? Do I have everything I need? Do I have a food to eat, a place over my head? Primal instincts, connection, sex, those kinds of things are in those lower areas of the body. And so we're not only stifled up here with these two topics, and I'd say maybe even here at the level of the heart, because we're afraid and shameful and have a lot of weird emotions around those topics, but also literally physically in our belly and digestive system and genital areas, we're like stifled there physically. And so I do practices like yoga and qigong, and those help me get into those areas and loosen them up and lighten them up and get them in. I play in those areas. So most people have practices of exercise where they're kind of forward and back or side to side, and they don't really delve into those deep nooks and crannies of the body, especially in the hips, in the pelvic floor, in the belly, in the glutes, in the lumbar spine, and really like play in those areas. And that's what I love about the practice of qigong, especially. There's a lot of opportunity to do that in that practice, and then also yoga. And so I will physically work that area of my body and keep it supple. And then mentally, I want to keep it supple too. I want to think about what are my habit patterns or thoughts around this topic, the topic of death and the topic of sex, and have I stifled my thinking about it, or have I limited my thinking in those areas or topics, and what, just start to kind of unpack that mentally. And what I found is these two practices, just being mindful and conscious in your own sexuality, and being mindful and conscious of death as a cycle of life, as a continuation in that cycle, is one amazing liberation. There's so much power in coming to terms and to peace with those two topics. There's so much liberation, there's so much space that gets created, because really at your core in sex and death, you're really connecting to, can I let go of this duality, this I, this little me, and maybe see the bigger picture. And so amazing liberation around it is one of the biggest benefits. And then another benefit I found is your adaptation to change. These are two areas that if you can get comfortable there, you can really this is the rub, you guys, you can really get comfortable anywhere. Like if you've got those two down and you delve through those and tackle them, then other topics are going to be like, oh, that's cake, that's pie, that's super easy, So it's learning to play in those deep, basey areas where it's a little bit hard to go into, but definitely worth going in because they give you a bigger range to play in. So the next video I'm going to post is going to be one on the physical practice of getting into those deep, basey areas, the hips, the glutes, the lumbar spine, the pelvic floor, the digestive system, the belly, the spine. It's so important to bring out that spine a little bit every day. And you'll notice that as you start to get more fluid in those areas, you're waking it up, you're bringing fresh oxygenated, nutrient-rich blood to those areas. Just has an effect all through your whole body. I mean, how could it not? It could help with circulation, that helps with digestion, it helps so many things, you guys. So let's get in and juicy in those areas. So I will see you next time. Namaste.